I say, old boys, jolly good of you to stop by once again. Yes, jolly good indeed. And today, yes, we are back in World of Warships, where today we're going to be taking a look at a replay submitted in the great British lady HMS Warspite. What is going on, guys? Proteus458 here, and welcome back to the channel. And today, as I said, we're going to be taking a look at a viewer replay submitted by Soal Inside. I think he used to go by Soal HN, if memory serves. And we've featured his content on my channel a few times before. And as I also mentioned, he is taking out his premium tier 6 British battleship, only British battleship in the game, and until fairly recently, the only British ship in the game. Obviously, we've now got the destroyer, the Campbelltown, or whatever it's called, and British cruisers are on the way. Yes, don't you know? But anyway, so he's in the Warspite, a ship that I also have and rather enjoy, although I don't play all that often. 53,000 hit points, health, whatever you want to call it. Not bad, pretty decent armour, although it does have a nasty habit of being citadeled when you don't expect it. Pretty okay speed for tier 6, what, about 23.5 knots or so, but it is quite manoeuvrable, which is what makes it quite nice. The rudder shift takes a little bit of time to get going, but once it is actually hard over to port or starboard, this is quite a maneuverable little battleship, which means you can, you can really actually like troll destroyers and carrier planes and, slide through their torpedo spreads. So otherwise, 15-inch guns. Again, used to be the only tier 6 battleship with 15-inch guns, so you've got quite a good amount of punch. Range is okay. You can see now about 15, was it about 16 or so, 16.5 that this Murmansk came into range, so it's not quite as long as the Fuso, but I think it is longer than the American battleships. And he's putting some shots down range at the Murmansk, and how are they looking? They're actually looking pretty good. And 2 citadels. Wow. So a great start to the match for Soal Inside. But yeah, as for the drawbacks with the ship, the accuracy is, it used to be like, its selling point. It had very accurate guns. These days, they kind of seem to be a little bit all over the place. But you do still sometimes get some really nice tight spreads. The other big drawback is the turret traverse. Oh my god. I don't know who's doing what in those turrets, but I don't know. I think they need to stop making tea and turn the turrets, because I think this thing's turret traverse is even slower than the Yamato's at tier 10, which is, that's pretty well known for having some rather slow turrets. But anyways, before we get too much into the action, we got another Murmansk who is stopped, possibly running around. He's moving forward, so we're going to lead, but unfortunately the guns weren't ready to capitalize on that. But he's going to put shots down range. Bit of a channel life update, if you will. I have mentioned in the past that I am... another Citadel, 16,000 hit point damage done. Nice. I did mention in the past I was trying to sell my house with the hopes of moving to somewhere where I could get proper internet, because the internet here sucks. Got to go with a wireless internet. And it's sold, ladies and gentlemen. My house is officially sold. Signed the papers, the process will now start, and if all goes according to plan, the transfer of the house to the new owners should happen towards the mid to end November, which means that at the end of December I have to, I'll have to find a new house and move in. They're set to take occupation on the 1st of January. So a bit of a shitty time to be moving over Christmas and New Year, but it is what it is, and it's good because now I got to gonna find a new place, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, but I will find a place where I can get a nice fiber connection. And he actually managed to sneak some shots over the mountain there and do a little bit more damage. No citadels, that would have been even better, but yeah, so I will find a place where I can get, takes a big hit there, 10,400 damage. I'm not sure who that was, but it was obviously a battleship. But yeah, we'll find a place where I can get a nice fiber connection. I'm looking at getting a 50 meg connection, 50 up and 50 down, which means I'll be able to live stream and upload videos like really quickly. Instead of taking 5 hours, it'll take half an hour or so to upload a video. So I can probably also increase the bitrate a bit. Some decent hits on that Kiev as well, and he is on fire. But yeah, so hopefully within a few days of moving in, I'll be able to get the fiber connection installed, because I will obviously try and find a place during December, not at the very end of December. And 2 weeks before I move in, I will put the order in for the fiber connection so that hopefully they can come and do it on the 2nd or 3rd of January, you know, right after New Year's. So really looking forward to that. Still going to be fairly expensive, probably compared to American standards, but it's going to be about the same that I'm paying now for my 5 down, 1 up. So, you know, well, not about the same, it's a little bit more, but not that much more considering I'm going to be 10 times faster in the download and 50 times faster in the upload. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, and here come some torpedoes. But I'm really excited about that, and really excited about being able to do some live streaming, actually. And now this Furutaka's come out, and you can see the turrets are still trying to turn. He's going to fire off the back turrets. How do they look? Could have given a little bit more lead, and maybe he could have gotten a citadel with that, but he's now had to turn back over to port to get his front guns in the mix, and a little bit more damage. I mean, he's up to 66,000 already, which is not bad at all. Furutaka could have possibly launched torpedoes. I mean, he did kind of go broadside, and I think with the Furutaka you can get the torpedoes off slightly more towards the front of your ship than you can in some other Japanese cruisers. And now we got this Koenig tier 5 Japanese battleship, I think. I don't know. I actually haven't, still haven't been playing much. Haven't got much up the German tech tree. More hits. I think he did about 5,000 damage there. He's up to 71,000. Just waiting on the reload. Unfortunately, one of the things with the Warspite is because it's only a tier 6 battleship, you do not get a fighter plane, you only get the scout, which I absolutely hate. Yes, it gives you a boosted range, and as he fires, someone takes the Furutaka out. But I hate the different view that you get. It just, you know, if you're not used to it, it likely just messes up with your aim more than anything. So more shots going in on the Koenig. 2,400 damage done, nothing too special, but his team's doing really well. If you look, I mean, they got over a 300-point advantage. They've only lost a single destroyer. The enemy team has lost 3 destroyers and 2 cruisers, so things are going well for Soal Inside's team. But soon the enemy team will start fighting back. It's not going to be like a whitewash with only 1 ship being destroyed on Soal's team. So he's turning around, and he's now heading. I think at this point he's going to head back towards his cap circle and defend that, because we do have a Fuso and a Dunkirk approaching. There's also a Scharnhorst at 16.9 and another Fuso at 17.2, which is defending their cap from something, I guess. Or maybe he's just moving to try and intercept those 2 friendly cruisers, Soal's team's cruisers, that are in E10. Moving up towards the cap zone. But anyway, so we got Fuso at 17, Dunkirk at 21, and a Scharnhorst at 16.5. Scharnhorst, obviously the new tier 7 German premium battleship cruiser with its, was it 9 11-inch guns? And the Scharnhorst is not looking this way, and Soal's going to open fire. Shots going in. It's got a fairly good broadside target, but obviously, as with all of these German battleships, they're very difficult to citadel. But they're still pretty nice to get some solid hits on and do some pretty serious damage. I mean, that was 8,000. Could have been better, but also, as we know with battleships, it could have been a lot worse. And, oh no, Commander Furiosa in the Congo. 2 of them were not watching where they were going and did not see each other. And as a result, we have a little crash, but Soal apologizes, and I think Furiosa, there we go, yeah, she's going to say, or it's going to say no problem. So now we got a Dunkirk, broadside on, not particularly good armor from what I have seen on the internet, but the shots land a little bit towards the rear, and we were not able to capitalize on that and punish the French battleship for its mistake. Scharnhorst is now opening fire on the Warspite, and we shouldn't have any problems dealing with these shells as long as he's firing armor piercing. If he switches over to high explosive, then obviously it's a bit of a different story, but it does look like he is indeed firing armor piercing at this stage. And So he's going to keep the bow pointed towards us. But the Fuso is not. The Fuso is giving us a nice, juicy broadside. And the Fuso's armor is not the greatest. 3 of the 4 turrets have fired. The final one was not able to get on target. And there's a Citadel, 11,400 damage. And the Fuso's down to less than 3,500 hit points. Now, unfortunately, don't really have a whole lot of maneuvering options here. We kind of just got to head in straight towards these 2 enemy battleships, which is not ideal because the Scharnhorst is obviously very good at brawling and does have torpedoes. And the Dunkirk, I don't know what he's really doing here, to be honest. Both of his gun turrets on the front, 13,500 damage nearly. And he has absolutely no reason to do anything other than point the bow of his ship towards Soal HN. But he turned and exposed enough of his broadside that while you can get a Citadel and only 970 damage taken there, gets Confederate already. And allowed Soal HN to do some pretty serious damage to him. So he's firing here a little bit higher up. I think he's trying to get the shells to hit the superstructure rather than the main armor belt. So you probably won't do a whole lot at this range, but he hasn't done a whole lot anyway. Dunkirk is still firing at us, or at least this is with the secondaries, and we're now within some serious brawling range. Shots coming in, and we bounce most of it, only 3,000 damage taken. And here come some torpedoes from the Scharnhorst. I would have expected him to use them a little bit sooner. And you see, here's where the Warspite is like a really good brawling ship in most cases because of its armor, another 11,000 damage done. The issue comes, and those land a little bit short, and those land to do 3,000 HM damage. But while it's pretty good at brawling because of its armor, the turrets absolutely suck for this because, ooh, big hit from the Dunkirk, 16,000 damage taken, but the turrets turn so slowly. Now when you're in like a circling knife fight like this, you just can't really keep the turrets just can't keep up, at least not all of them, and it can be really difficult to keep all of them on target. But he gets some good hits in there on the Dunkirk. He's down to 165 damage or hit points remaining, and the secondaries are going to work. More big damage, 18,000, and the secondaries have now set 2 fires. Finally he gets the kill and close quarters expert, but that battle took a massive toll on the grand old lady. I mean, he was on what, nearly 40,000 hit points when that started. He's down to 11,300. But I mean, there wasn't a whole lot else he could do. He just kind of had to try and get rid of the Dunkirk, and turning in that sort of situation, you're always going to be presenting a broadside. And shots in on the Murmansk, and unfortunately they land a bit short and straddle the target. But he's got one more gun for the Scharnhorst. Can he finish him off? He only needs a fairly decent hit, and indeed he does. 2 hits there, and 4,200 hit points done to finish off the German Premium Battleship. And now all that remains on the enemy team is a Fuso, their carrier, and the Murmansk. So I think it's a little bit of downtime now. As you can see, the Fuso is at 21.1 and a little bit out of range, which is 16.3. So, I mean, he's done 156,000 damage. This is a very, very good result. How much better can it really get? Well, let us fast forward a little bit in the action until we are back within gun range of a target. And we will resume once we start shooting at things. Alright, so we are nearly back in the action. Soal Inside has requested that his allied aircraft carrier try and scout out the enemy carrier, and we're very nearly in range of the Fuso, 16.3 kilometers, so that is pretty much the max range of these guns without the scout plane. And he's just trying to close distance a little bit, and the enemy carrier has now been spotted in A5. But for the time being, Soal Inside's attention is firmly placed on this Fuso, who takes a pretty serious hit from an allied battleship who's just entered the cap. And there is the carrier. It is a Hiryu, but the Hiryu is focusing on the Fuso, so we're quite happy with that. Here, Soal Inside does something interesting. He launches his scout plane when he doesn't need the range. I'm guessing he did that in order to just get a slightly different perspective on the Fuso and how it was moving. A couple of hits there. A couple of bounces, a couple of non-penetrating hits, and in the end he does, what, 7,500 damage. They're up to 163 now, and Allied Fuso looks like he took a fairly big hit there, I think. And more shots going in on now Allied Battleship. But we're just trying to get all guns on target, and there we go. And yeah, he's down to like nearly 4,000 hit, or under 4,000 hit points. Shots going in. How do we do? Another Citadel, 2 Citadels, 18,600 damage done to finish off the enemy Fuso, up to 184,400 damage done. And all that remains is the enemy Hiryu on 42,000 hit points. So, can Soal Inside do it? Can he break 200k and possibly get his 4th kill of the match? Well, let's see. We're not going to have to wait too long to find out. The Hiryu's at just over 10 kilometers. We've got some planes coming in, but the Allied aircraft carrier is harassing the torpedo bombers with his fighter, and just taking the lead, and we're going to fire all the guns. And in fact, the Allied carrier is doing a fantastic job, but not quite enough. Another 2 Citadels, 27,000 damage. We've broken 200k. We're at 220. And thanks to the fighters, the dive bombers are missing their drops. And unfortunately, it wasn't able to save the other Fuso, the other battleship, but doing a great job in keeping Soal Inside alive. And we're now reloaded, firing off all the guns. We just need a few more hits to finish off this Hiryu. And they're looking good, and that is the kill, and that is the end of the match, and a pretty damn good match, if I do say so myself. But anyways, on to the results, and as you can see, Soal Inside. I keep wanting to call him Soal HL because that's what he was called. But anyways, 645,000 credits done, 11,500 experience, 225,900 damage. 70 target hits, 1 plane shot down, 3 incapacitations, 4 kills, 7 fires, 8 citadels, 82 target hits. He completed the effective shooting mission. And then as for the ribbons, he got close quarters expert, high caliber, probably Confederate, and something else. As for the team results, a little surprise here. He came first place on his team with a base XP of 3,076. The carrier was in second with 1,400. In third was the Sims with 1,200. On the enemy team was the Fuso in first place for their side with a base XP of 1,106. As for damage done, 225,941, of which 215,500 was from armor piercing, and another 5,700 or so from his secondaries, and 4,633 from fires. And as you can see, 46,000 to the Dunkirk, 41,000 to the Hiryu, 28,000 to the Fuso, 24,000 to the Scharnhorst, 25 to one Murmansk, and 22 to another Murmansk. So, a really great game. And Soal Inside, thank you very much for sending it in. I enjoyed watching the grand old lady go to work on the enemy team, and I hope you guys did as well. But anyways, that about covers it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below, and consider subscribing for more World of Warships, Armored Warfare, and a few other things that I throw into the mix from time to time. And I'm sure there will be more things when I get the fiber connection next year. Get to go back to things like War Thunder, which just haven't been much fun with all the packet loss I get. But anyways, that is it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.